what would you say is awareness, like itself? Because to define awareness, wouldn't that be like you're scoping into something? So then it becomes like a destination or like a goal or something instead of like you know what I'm saying?
You can finish saying it. So
Like,
what is awareness because of all this other stuff? Is there a cap to it? Like, are you done, or is there something else that's tagged along with this?
like pretty much like what is awareness? Because if I define what awareness is, then I might start getting like locked in, and then it starts collapsing on itself instead of it being open, right?
There's
That's
nothing.
basically.
There's nothing wrong with being locked in or focused.
Mm.
I'm not saying scope out so you see everything. At some point, you have to zoom in and you have to focus on something, which is okay. There's no vilifying focus, because as you focus, you do the condensing, and now you can focus on more because you actually contract so much. Now you can see a fuller picture. The more you focus, the more you see. But if you don't focus, you're not really seeing anything. That's why people, they're not focused, but you can tell they're just not even aware. Like, do you not see what's happening? Because they're not focused. So there's nothing wrong with that. But if I was to define awareness, I would say it's the conscious acknowledgement of a thing. Because you'd be conscious, but you're just, like babies are conscious, but they're not really acknowledging anything. They're like non-receptive. But through your conscious acknowledging, that is there. And that's the awareness of it. Noticing, taking note of, acknowledging.
Like mental notes.
Yeah, mental, or you can verbal. You can even say, like, hey, look, that's a thing. You were aware of that. Hey, there's the keys. Hey, guys, found the keys. Or mental, like, okay, oh, that's there. Okay, cool. I'll remember that later.
You know, when you were saying the whole like concentration thing, I thought about that's probably how you have so much dense muscles and dense thoughts. Or maybe the muscles came from the dense thoughts and obviously the dense concentration, but like, how were you able to do it on yourself? You know, like, you definitely have stimuli, but people can have stimuli, but it's up to them to actually like do stuff and also concentrate it themselves. But like, how did you do it on your own self?
What is it?
Like the concentration of thought, or like refining yourself to where you can concentrate and just like collapse that thing into it.
What is that? What is it though? Into what?
Into itself.
It's so consciousness. So you're saying consciousness into itself is the ultimate, is the ultimate thing you're saying?
I think so. Like, I think that's what I'm saying.
Because I can answer multiple things, but it seems like maybe there's something that you're thinking that it is that hasn't been verified that it's that. So you're going with that. But I really want to know from your from your perspective, what do you consider it to be? How do I collapse and densify my conscious on my conscious?
It's kind of like, it seems like you found a way to know what you didn't know, even though you get stimuli from the external, but you were able to collapse what you know from also the stuff that you don't know, at least from what I knew that you didn't know, from the way that you were saying things, that I'm like, oh, like, because we found out that you didn't know that until after, but you were still able to collapse on that thing, which means you were able to sense the thing that you didn't know, but still condense with the thing that you didn't know. So how did you know how to do something that you didn't know what to do?
And that's your question?
Yeah.
Okay. By being aware of what you do know. So when there's unfamiliarity in the air, the atmosphere, you can identify it. So you know if it's different, it's most likely not going to be that. So then you can appropriate yourself to whatever that thing is. And in real time, you can receive correct or close to correct actions on whatever needs to be done in that time or that manner.
How do you make things like sound so simple? It's like, duh. Like when I ask you a question, I'm like, oh my God, this. Oh my gosh, how do you even do? And you're like, yeah, just take your shoes off the front door and just walk in. It's like, oh my God, why didn't I think about that? Like, how are you able to do that? What do you see inside of me where it's like, it's stopping me from also having that? Like, how do you have that? Do you know what I mean by that? Or do you need me to define that?
Yeah, I'll share this with you as a secret that's no longer a secret. The hang up or the block is you see yourself as not having it, and that's what you're fighting against. So you're creating a scenario to achieve or rise because you in your mental position don't believe that you have that. And that's why I don't believe that I have that. So therefore I'm just acknowledging whatever is happening. And I'm like, okay, cool. What do I need to do? But I'm not saying like, man, I don't have this. What do I need to do to have this? And that's specifically your approach to it and the thing that's perpetuating itself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
I'm basically coming from a lack mindset type of vibe. And like, I don't have compared to like, oh, what is this? Like, it's not that it's assuming that you don't have or anything. It's just identifying that's your first step. Whereas mine is like, I don't have. Now identify. Now do this.
Because the tool that's being applied in this specific scenario is the tool that's applied in all scenarios. It's consciousness. So whenever this thing that I'm appropriating myself to is being acknowledged because I'm aware, which is fueled by my consciousness. You're responding to my statements and even my questions, showing that you have the same tool. It's a single tool. It's consciousness. And you're displaying it right now. So you already have it. And it's not something that a person has or doesn't have. There's no thing. There just is. There's no such thing as no thing. There's just consciousness. That's all there is. So when something's coming, you just observe it. Now you can apply it in different manners, but it's the same tool. Nonetheless, it's consciousness. And you can shape it to look like a wrench or a hammer or whatever, but the construct, the material, the intangible material is consciousness. So how do you have, what do you mean? It's consciousness, you have it too. It might be more so of how do you apply would be a better question or a more suitable question for this. How do you apply your consciousness to have a higher success rate in the outcome when this situation is occurring? Oh, well, blah, 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 blah. But it's not something I have and you don't. It's just the consciousness itself, which every living being has. And there's no degree, there's no measure. People have slidden into conformity because they believe conceptual words like genius, smarter, intelligence, when all you have to do, there's nothing, none of that stuff even matters. There's just receptiveness and awareness. There's no such thing as intelligence or smart, because that intelligence they have may not save them over here. Smart people still pass. Smart people still do stupid stuff, like marry their cousins or something like that. It's like, well, genetically, you may not want to do that, you know? So it doesn't matter the exploits of a certain field a person's able to demonstrate, whether it's physics or whatever genre you want to go into. It's primarily the receivability, moment by moment, of what's happening in real time, not theoretically, that consists a person. It continues to proceed and bring them into the next moment. And that is what consciousness is for, staying alive. That's the only thing it's for. It's not for math. It's not for money. It's simply to stay alive. And every moment's different because the sun's always in a different position in the sky, even if it comes back. Like it does, like season to season. When it comes back this time, you're in a different position than where it was last time. The weather's a little cooler. The weather's a little hotter. You're at a higher elevation, lower. Like everything's always different, always moving. So there's no formula or routine or regimen to take part of on a moment by moment basis. Those are there for cognitive conservation. So you can preserve the energy that you have in your mental cognition so you don't become overstimulated and then drained, which would lull you into unawareness. You're still conscious, but you're just unaware about what's going on. So routines are like a stepping stool or like some training wheels to preserve you until you have the mental conditioning to be aware of all things at all times, always. But eventually, you want to come to the point where you're engaging your consciousness in awareness to know what to do in a second by second, moment by moment basis. And it supersedes any sort of scientific field. You know, I'm not hating on science or anything like that, but like there's a lot of scientists who weren't paying attention because they were paying attention over there versus over here. And you can see just the drain from the face, the body, the human body, the soul. Not all of them, but I'm just saying, like, it can go towards anything. People who deal in money or finances just drains their life force, their vigor, because they stayed focused on that. When there's a time to focus on money, there's a time to focus on math, there's a time to focus on whatever field, but to make it the priority, the main, becoming myopic in this one thing, it takes away your consciousness from everything, which the purpose of consciousness is to stay alive. What's the theme of life? Everything. Everything is the theme of life. The sun, the moon, the stars, the temperature, the elevation, the colors, the frequencies, the feelings, the sleep, the not sleep, this, the that, the breathing. Everything is the genre of life. So we're here to experience all of it and to know it. And through knowing it, we sustain our life. But to take all that energy and just put into one thing, it quickly sucks the soul, depletes it, which would cut off your preservation. Even if you're still alive at 80, your soul is sucked, your essence is sucked, your vitality is sucked. And then you're not able to perpetuate your own life force into the next category or chamber, and then a person, ceases to exist. They call it contraction death. I call it contraction, they may call it death. But you only pass away because you weren't aware how to continue living the next second. A person only has their life ended because they did not have the capacity to bring it into the next moment. Most people have been bringing it into the next moment by default because a lot of things are already cushioned for us. So like we have modern temperature regulation, like ACs and heaters and stuff like that. And then we have food that's served to us. So a lot of people have already been placed in a position of non-consent living. And I know that might sound crazy, but like they're not even consenting to living. It's just that life is so easy now. Everyone's alive, but they're not even trying to be alive. It's being handed to them. So it's kind of like, okay, cool, yeah, let me go work because it's what the thing you do. Yeah, let me go eat because that's what you do. But they're not even consenting to truly eating or truly working or truly living, and they're just here. So they're conscious, but they're not aware because the life that they're living they didn't consent to it. They're not actually engaged in it. But whenever you come to the point of consciousness, like in expansion and awareness of it, then everything you have to take account for, everything you put in your mouth, everything at whatever time you go to bed, waking up, sleep, whatever, everything, you have to become aware of it because you're actually consenting to it. Maybe it would be better called unaware consent. They're unaware that they're consenting to living. And so life to them sucks, or it's not as great as it could be, or they know that there's more because they don't even know what I just said. That it's unaware consent. And if you're unaware through all this, then you get your essence and your vitality drained from you, and you look older as you get greater in age. But there's a lot of people who are like 80, they don't even look old because they were paying attention. It's not because they ate only vegetables or this or that. They were aware to stay happy or moving or something for the purpose of living. But either way, to the highest degree, when you truly know what life is, you can bring yourself into each chamber, upcoming chamber, moment by moment, primarily unfazed.
You know, when you were saying all of that, there were some thoughts that popped up. Like one of them was, you were saying how everyone has consciousness, and that's the, in a sense, tool, in a sense. But
all life is conscious. Even trees grow towards the sun. It's not a mechanical thing. It's a bit of awareness. Though they don't have eyes or a direct muscular system to go instantly towards it. Mm-hmm. Everything in them is geared towards what life is. All consciousness moves towards life.
Dang, that also pings me into thinking like, then when we eat living foods, we're just eating consciousness.
Partially.
And then that's where they talk about like levels of consciousness and all that.
Partially, yeah.
But I'm also thinking about when you said everyone has consciousness and that's the tool that they can first start out with. It kind of made me think about like, no matter how much you dress up a person, whether it be like, in a sense, a homeless person or like the royals, like however you want to dress them up, it's still the same thing. If you want to package it this way, like, hey, here's like this brand of apple compared to, hey, this brand of they're still apples. And it made me think about that. And then also when you were saying the whole, like, you get sucked when your conscious isn't like there. And then I thought about how you also said something that kind of also pinged this before you went into like a little bit later, is like at nighttime, people like they have false light and they're in their house, like shut off, they're conscious in a sense, and it's not expanding. So it kind of seems like maybe you feel drained as well at nighttime, even when you're pushing out, because it's also making up for a bunch of people that aren't also pushing out and they're being unconscious and they're not pushing out with consciousness. Even though there's plants that also probably push out, but probably not as much as like the human conscious that's also radiating, because now they have like this stuff. But then if I have a street lamp and there's some plants next to it, then it wouldn't be pushing out as much, right? Because it's under false light. So it thinks it's like daytime, but it's not.
So going to the point of the tiredness at night, I don't think it's dependent upon other people pushing out with their conscious. Although everything does affect everything, the fatigue that I feel is primarily based on the intensity that's needed to be effective. And that's independent of anybody else's from what I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm. But then also the moon is the pulling energy. So even if you get effective, it's going to be proportionally the same, right?
The sun being bathing, mm-hmm. while the moon being a force that pulls, is it's more so an acknowledgement of the functions, not in totality, of each body, you know, sun and the moon.
Mm-hmm.
It's separate still of what's actually being done, although it's representative of what that portion of time is, day and night. So it's not that necessarily the moon just pulls and the fatigue is there, but it's also that the sun isn't there bathing and giving. So it's not the cause of fatigue, but it's the alert of what time it is to operate in. I could take the same thing and do it at night and do it during the day, and most likely I would still feel the fatigue because it takes a certain amount of intensity.
Mm.
There's nothing really to allow that to fall on besides just doing it.
Hmm. Would you say, like, there's other modes and methods besides breathing? Because I remember you also said that is a little bit part of laziness, but if it's taking away from you to where you said that you saw aging, is it laziness still?
It's a good question. Well, the laziness would be not already arriving at a point to find some sort of solution to where I'm able to operate in that without the draw from me
Oh.
at a deficit to where any signs of aging would appear. So, you know, in layman's terms, like, well, why haven't I found a way to do it without aging? How all this time? It's nobody to blame, you know, but no one to take responsibility but me. So should see it in that manner, and that brings a lot more of effectiveness in moving forward when I approach situations like that.